Lockdown might suck, but I do love mornings without the alarm. Oh, yes, okay, I'm back in my onesie because life's a party. Dress like it. This week I have two delicious reads for you. First is Christy Leftery's The Beekeeper of Aleppo. Now this was one of last year's most talked about books, but my to-be-read pile is so big I only got around to it now. Now this book is about a Syrian couple who lose their son during the war in that country. The husband, Nuri, is a beekeeper, making the most delicious honey, but his business is destroyed. He then decides to take himself and his wife on the treacherous journey that refugees follow to get to the safety of the UK. I spoke to Christy about what inspired the book.
First of all, my parents were refugees themselves. So when basically 1974, after the war in Cyprus, my parents became refugees and went to the UK. And I was born a few years after that war, and I think I kind of, I grew up in the shadow of that war and the shadow of those traumas. Well, you know, I think eventually my dad moved to Cyprus in a few years ago, and I went to visit him during the Easter of 2016, and I was sitting on the shore. So he lives on the far east side of Cyprus that faces Syria, and I was sitting on that shore and looking out across the water and thinking, you know, there's such devastation there. It's so much, it's horrendous, and yet I'm sitting here safely on this shore. I decided that I wanted to help in some way, but I couldn't go to Syria because it's too, obviously it was too dangerous. So I decided to go to Athens and volunteer, and I ended up in a women and children's centre.
She also told me what she wants readers to feel when they turn the last page.
I think while I was writing Noreen Afra, what I hoped for is that people could connect with them intimately and care about them. Because if my readers could care about Noreen Afra, then they might be able to feel what I felt when I met those children and those women when I was working at the refugee centre.
Next up is Geetha Logis' thriller Watching from the Dark. One night when Aidan is supposed to be Skyping with his girlfriend Zoe, he sees someone enter her apartment. The police then find Zoe dead in the bath. It looks like suicide at first glance, but the coroner finds a chemical around her mouth, so it seems she was drugged and then killed. Now, Aidan is the first suspect because it's always the boyfriend or husband, right? But he was nowhere near the crime scene. The story takes you back into the past before the crime happened when Zoe first meets Aidan. Could he be involved after all? The book is a solid piece of crime fiction. I ate it up in one sitting. Now, get reading already. Andrea van Wyk, Johannesburg.